Hello, Musto0063 back to continue on with Mega Man 5. And I've taken out all 8 Robot Masters, so now I'm going to be tackling ProtoMan's Fortress. Or at least let's refer to it as ProtoMan's Fortress for the time being. And just to say before we really get going, that like all other commentary on Fortress stages from Mega Man's 1 to 4 and indeed Wily Tower, this is now completely unscripted, so I haven't spent ages writing out scripts or ironing out what I'm going to say, so this is just all a little bit more off the cuff and unrehearsed, so who knows what I'm going to end up saying. With that out of the way, first little area of the fortress, we get ambushed by these kind of shooter enemies from Gyro stage and the big cats from Napalm stage. And in case it hadn't been obvious up to this point in time, the trick with the big cats is that they don't really seem to move unless you shoot. So particularly for this little bit, with 2 of them, you want to kind of get down to the lower edge of the platform and then shoot, and the upper one will jump over you harmlessly. Now for this little area, you've got a bunch of walking bombs on the floor, Blair, told you it was unrehearsed, the ceiling, and you want to kind of fake them out before making your way across. Obviously this ladder is too high up to reach without the aid of something, so I decided to pull out Rush Coil there, but Super Arrow would also do rather well. And don't worry, I will show off Super Arrow at later points during the game. Hit this little area, we got a whole bunch of these enemies that were in Charge Man stage that are dropping bombs. And once we take out the last one, there's a ginormous spike pit that you're going to want to use Rush Jet to traverse. Now, if you start a little bit further back from the edge, you can make it all the way up to that higher ledge all in one go. Not that it really makes too much of a difference. Again, you can always just use Rush Jet to get to that sort of smaller ledge and then use it again, or Super Arrow, or Rush Coil, or whatever, to make up to the top ledge, but yeah, you can save yourself a little bit of trouble if you start a little bit further back. This screen, just make sure, unless you've taken out that little enemy that you saw roll across the floor there, make sure you jump whilst shooting that cannon, or it's going to come, you're going to come a cropper. And here we have another Dashon, which we saw in Star Stage, and this one actually is somewhat threatening. Just because it's right up close to you, and the uneven floor is going to mean that the laser beams are going to be a little bit in your way. Now this is the first of 2 reappearing disappearing block screens, and I do quite a good job on this one, but the second one I do an absolutely atrocious job of just waiting around just doing absolutely nothing. So let me go on record and say right now, I friggin' love the music of ProtoMan's Fortress. It's, again, like Charge Man stage, definitely in my top 5, possibly in my top 3 of classic Mega Man stage musics of all time. And the best bit is, well, if you like the music, I guess, that it actually is the backing soundtrack to all 4 of ProtoMan's 4 stages. So yeah, if you like it, great. If you don't, well then, frankly, you don't deserve playing Mega Man. And here we're introduced to a new enemy, which is called a Rounder. And it's probably one of the least threatening enemies in the game, since you can take it out like I'm doing here, but if you don't really, or can't really be bothered, eventually it'll just get bored and it'll go away. So yeah, it really does seem like a completely pointless enemy. And that brings us to the boss of ProtoMan 1, and as you can see, I've selected Water Wave because it happens to be Darkman 1's weakness. And the boss fight's going to go by really quickly, so he's a tank, he rolls around on the floor, he shoots pellet shots, the more damage you do to him, the faster he gets, and he's bloody annoying. Water Wave makes very short work of him, but believe me, trying to shoot him with just Mega Buster without charging, or anything else for that matter, elongates the fight, and it's really flipping annoying, particularly when he speeds up, and he becomes really, really difficult to avoid. Onward to stage 2. And we have a choice of direction to take right from the off. And you can bet your bottom dollar if I was doing this blind, I'd pick wrong. But since I've obviously played Mega Man 5 loads of times, I know which ladder to take. It's the left one. As you can see, the right hand one will lead you to a dead end. Thank you again for the 1-up drop. it's almost ridiculous just how generous Mega Man 5 is with its 1-up drops. Obviously there's a high ledge here that you can't get up without using something, and I decided to use Rush Coil again. Don't worry, I will show off Super Arrow at some point. The rest of this screen is taken up with the Pukapella enemies, which I just hate, and the train mechs we saw from Charge's stage. I guess if there's one thing to say about this area, it's don't go too far too fast. If you can keep one Pukapelli on screen at a time and not scroll loads of them on by, going to the right too much, you'll make this area a lot easier on yourself. Now coming up are possibly, from childhood memories, possibly my two, well maybe not this one, although frankly I do an absolutely atrocious job this time around. The next screen coming up here is probably from childhood memories about one of the worst I've ever had. I just cannot kind of get the hang of the conveyor belts and the spikes and the pits and dodging the enemies who drop the bombs. They're always in the way, they always annoy me, and I actually do rather well I think here actually not to die, because oh boy, I remember when I was a child dying about 4 times on this screen in one run, and just annoying the hell out of me. So not dying on that screen was actually quite a bit of substantial progress. A bit of a breather room once you get by it. As you can see here, we've got some Crystal Joes, and the fact that, again, I think they're the least threatening Joes possibly of the entire Mega Man series. They don't jump, they don't move, their crystal is slow, so you can just easily dodge it, and yeah, they're really not too much of a trouble whatsoever. Next screen, I decided, take out a few enemies just to clear my path a bit more. Thank you again for another one up! And this little dispenser, you obviously can walk under it, but your timing has to be pretty good to avoid taking a hit. But it's actually slightly too high up to hit with a uncharged Mega Buster shot, so yeah, what with not trying to perfect run it, charge shots, and again, as indeed use of utility items, robot master weapons, all perfectly usable or valid for me to use, so yeah, I can now happily use it when I want. Although again, I don't tend to use charge shots all that much just because the noise is ridiculously annoying and it's just never been my style of play. A couple of these like bounder enemies which we saw in Star Stage, I think, and well, they're extremely non-threatening and, to be honest, seem to go out of their way to avoid hitting you. The pellet shots always seem to just not go anywhere near you. So yeah, if you stand still and just keep shooting, you'll take them out no problem. Well, I needed that health. This screen is interesting, so it's a bit frantic as well. So what I would tend to do, and again thank you for another one-up drop, remembering of course that the big cat won't kind of jump at you until you shot, I kind of wait until lure the 2 Pukapelli enemies down to your level, take them out, and then try to deal with the big cat afterwards. As you kind of saw there, what a technique you could use if you can't take out the big cat quickly enough is to kind of descend the ladder, and you should be obviously safe from the big cat when you descend the ladder. So that is another option as well. As you can see here, I didn't fancy trying to take out the big cat too quickly while I was down at the bottom, so I shot while I was at the top, forced him to jump. And then, well, actually, I was planning to kill him, but funnily enough, scroll him off screen, so yay. So here's Darkman 2, and, well, I do an atrocious job of not getting hit, as you can see. He's probably the easiest of the 4 in the Proto stage, and all you really have to do is jump over him. You kind of have to shoot such that your shots don't hit his barrier. As you can kind of see, I'm trying to time it so that the barrier is not out to the left and the right, otherwise they will deflect shots. And I've selected Crystalline, not because it's an especially great weakness against him. It's the best of the Robot Master weapons, but not as good as Wave was on Darkman 1, for instance. The best thing would probably be charged Mega Buster shots, but again, they just make a screeching noise, and yeah. I prefer Crystalline than using charged Mega Buster shots. Proto Stage 3, and this is probably the most threatening of all 4. And as you can see for this first screen, I would thoroughly recommend just making a dash for it and bypassing all the incredibly annoying Apache Joes. And yeah, well, if you make a dash like that, it just seems to work out rather well, and it's a lot nicer than hanging around trying to take them out because of their jerky movements. But yeah, this screen, this screen's not all that threatening, neither is this one, by the way. But this stage is just probably the most threatening in terms of the enemies that are in it, and also the abundance of spikes and pits all over the place, which we'll hopefully kind of see a bit later. But we've got some kind of like little fun screens here where you're kind of riding these platforms that we saw in Gyro stage and possibly one other one that I can't quite remember at the moment. Stones. But yeah, with obviously some spikes on the walls. But it's not, yeah, you basically just obviously, as soon as you hop on one and you look like you're about to hop onto another one, then take the opportunity to do so. As you can see here, we've got some kind of abundance of pits, and we've got some mech cannons which are not all that nicely placed. Also got some of those enemies that drop bombs overhead, so you need to be a little bit careful there to either take them out quickly or make sure that you're out of their range. Now, if memory serves, we've got a bounder here, and I believe I show off Super Arrow now, finally. Yes, I was worried there, I was going off the Rush Core, but no, it was indeed Super Arrow. And this screen, well, it's not generally too bad. Basically, you're just kind of trying to play catch up to the snake platform that's kind of going there. You've also got spikes to deal with and Pukapelli, and ordinarily it's not too bad, but yay, I decided to have an absolute nightmare here. Fortunately, the checkpoint in the stage is right there. And even more fortunately, there's an extra life that's waiting for me there, so of course I've got to go collect that. I don't bother with the energy tank, but I can't have my lives depleted. That would just be unthinkable. But yeah, well, that was a rather embarrassing death there, but anyway, yeah. The Pukapelli here, again, as always, can be bloody annoying, just because they can go in areas that just make them really difficult to hit. But I obviously need to be wary of them, and indeed the floor where you are, so as not to, land on spikes or indeed a pit. There's a couple, quite a few here, power musclers, which can be really rather irritating. You can take the first one that you saw there out a bit easier by hanging around on the ladder and then using another Robot Master weapon to destroy it. But yeah, if you're quick enough, you can just either kill it with the Mega Buster, or indeed, as I did there, slide under it. So as you can see here, having some fun taking my time on these little enemies, just making absolutely 100% sure that I don't get hit. And we have another Power Muscler, and again you could stay on the ladder there and use a Robot Master weapon to destroy it, but again I was feeling rather cocky, don't know why frankly, but so I decided I could get away with sliding underneath it. And again we have a little snake platform we've got to keep up with, and this time we have the far less irritating spike plungers. Which, if they do kind of knock you off, then or hit you, then they're unlikely to kind of knock you off from the snake platform. There are also no spikes there as well, so that area is just that little bit easier to traverse, I think, than the first one. And onwards to Darkman Robot 3. And, well, if you can fudge it, a bit like I do here, this is really rather easy. As you can see, I'm kind of get up close to him, wait for him to kind of flash, and then he's going to shoot 3 rings out. If those rings hit me, then they will freeze me in place pretty much until he gets a hit on me, either by shooting pellet shots or jumping at me. But as you can see, if you can get him into that pattern, then Gyro is one of his weaknesses, by the way, as well, so I'd recommend that. But yeah, if you can get him into that silly little pattern that I did, then yeah, he's rather silly and rather easy. Proto Stage 4 is a really rather fun but very very short stage where all we're doing is hitting these blocks and letting the ceiling come crumbling down. As you can obviously see, as soon as you hit a block, the screen comes down to the lowest point where it can do. So basically just shoot the blocks, and there really shouldn't be too much in the way of strategy to have time to get by, but it's a very short stage, it's very easy, and yeah, just watch out for the spikes obviously that are there and make sure you don't get crushed by the ceiling. But yeah, as you see, there's the boss gate. It's a very very short stage. Ow. So yeah, it sounded like ProtoMan's whistle was slightly off there, and indeed that was the case. This is Darkman 4. And as for that cutscene, yeah, you obviously take mega damage, but then the real ProtoMan comes in at the last minute, as always. to save the day and give you an L tank, which is slightly confusing. Not either an E or an M, but an L, but anyway, yep. And this is Darkman 4, somewhat of a combination of the other three. And he doesn't really have a Robot Master weakness here, so I decided to pull out the Mega Buster, Charge Mega Buster, and deal with him that way. But you can hit him while his shields are kind of not out left and right. But the easiest time to hit him, as you can see, is when he's jumping across screen and he's got rid of the shields. Other than that, he will shoot 3 pellet shots at you, but they're, once you know they're there, just you can easily jump in between them. It's not a tricky fight by any means. You've done well, Mega Man. I never expect you to defeat my powerful Darkman robot. Until now, I have managed to frame ProtoMan for my crimes, but now the real ProtoMan has appeared and spoiled my plan. Dr. Light is a captive in my lab. Come if you dare. Ha ha ha. Yep. ProtoMan wasn't behind it all. It was an elaborate scheme, and lo and behold, it's Wily again. But we'll save that for next time. So, yep, next video I'll be finishing off Mega Man 5 with the Wily Fortress stages. See you then. Cheerio.